Picture Britain in 1963. Rain slicks the cobbles of a Coventry side street as factory workers cycle home past showroom windows glowing with something new. Tiny cars, built for tiny budgets, promising enormous freedom. Petrol was precious, driveways were narrow, and an entire generation wanted wheels of their own. Out of this hunger came a wave of pint-sized saloons that would define a decade. One would rewrite the rules of car design forever. Another nearly bankrupted its maker before winning hearts. A third became a rally-winning giant slayer nobody saw coming. 10 cars, one extraordinary decade. Let's begin with number 10. Number 10. Riley Elf. Some cars whisper luxury through sheer audacity, and the Riley Elf did exactly that. Take BMC's humble Mini, then graft on a longer boot, a chrome grille, and walnut effect trim. That was the Elf's bold pitch to buyers who loved Mini practicality but wanted a touch more status. Launched in 1961 alongside its near-twin the Wolseley Hornet, it targeted professionals and older drivers who found the standard Mini a bit too utilitarian for their taste. Under the skin, it shared the Mini's transverse engine and front-wheel drive, though early versions used a smaller 848cc unit before growing to 998cc for improved performance. Critics sometimes mocked its fussy tail as an unnecessary addition to Issigonus's clean design. Yet buyers disagreed, and the Elf sold steadily throughout the decade. Would you have paid extra for badge prestige on a car built for the masses? That question defined an entire corner of the British small car market. But while the Elf dressed up an existing formula, another manufacturer was about to gamble everything on something completely untested. Number 9. Hillman Imp. Rootes Group needed a miracle, and in 1963 they built an ambitious rear-engine saloon designed to humble the Mini on its own turf. Uniquely among Hillmans, the Imp had its engine mounted in the rear, just behind a 4-speed, all-synchromesh transaxle, canted over to lower the center of gravity. Designed by Tim Fry and Mike Parks, the Imp featured an all-aluminium overhead camshaft unit, a genuine first for British mass production. Officially announced on the 2nd of May, 1963, when the Duke of Edinburgh opened the new factory in Linwood, the Imp carried the hopes of an entire Scottish workforce. On paper, it should have conquered Britain. In practice, rushed development brought cooling troubles and reliability headaches that dented its reputation early on. Yet on the road, testers loved its handling, and it found genuine success in motorsport, including class wins in continental rallying. Nobody expected the plucky rear-engined underdog to become a cult favorite decades later. But while Rootes chased innovation from the rear, another BMC engineer was quietly reshaping the entire small car formula from the front. Number 8. Austin A40 Farina. Before hatchbacks existed as we know them, one small saloon quietly hinted at the future. The A40 emerged as a crisply styled two-box design, so sharp that Austin could charge a premium for it while the older A35 soldiered on alongside. Styled in Italy, the Farina brought continental elegance to suburban British driveways, a rare thing for a budget-conscious town car. A clever countryman version previewed the hatchbacks that would become dominant 15 years later, giving practical families a versatile load carrier long before the concept had a name. A Mark II arrived in 1961 with a longer wheelbase, more power, and an SU carburetor replacing the old Zenith unit. Mechanically, it leaned on tried-and-tested BMC underpinnings, keeping running costs low for cash-strapped young families. If you're enjoying these forgotten British motoring stories, consider subscribing to the channel, because there are many more remarkable classics still to come. Sales remained steady for years, but a revolutionary front-wheel drive rival was already being sketched at Longbridge, and it would soon make the A40's conventional layout look distinctly old-fashioned. Number 7. Morris 1100. Would you believe the best-selling car in Britain during the mid-1960s wasn't even the famous Mini? BMC chose to launch the Morris version of Alec Issigonus's follow-up first, in 1962, applying the Mini's transverse engine and front-wheel drive genius to a slightly larger, more practical body. Unlike the pure Issigonus Mini, the final styling was handled by Pininfarina of Italy, giving it crisper, more grown-up proportions that appealed directly to families outgrowing their first small car. Beneath the elegant lines sat hydroelastic suspension, an interconnected fluid system that smoothed out Britain's pockmarked town roads far better than rivals could manage. The range became a huge success, quietly dominating sales charts while the flashier Mini soaked up the headlines. Do you remember seeing rows of them lining suburban streets? For years, this was simply the car everyone's parents owned. But Ford had been watching from across the Atlantic, and their answer to Britain's small car boom was about to arrive with a very different philosophy entirely. Number 6. Ford Anglia 105e. Squint at its rear window and you'll spot the detail that made an entire generation of school children point excitedly from the pavement, a reverse-raked windscreen unlike anything else on Britain's roads. Launched in 1959 and selling strongly right through the early 1960s, the Anglia 105e brought American-inspired styling flair to a resolutely British budget saloon. Ford fitted it with a new, over-square engine design that revved eagerly and proved remarkably robust for high-mileage motorists commuting into town every single day. Its boxy rear roofline wasn't just style for style's sake, it genuinely improved headroom and rear visibility compared to the sloping tails favored by rivals. Decades later, the Anglia found unexpected fame again on the big screen, flying over rooftops in a beloved family film franchise. Would this angular little Ford have turned your head parked outside the local shops in 1962? Its cheeky styling made it stand out. But one rival manufacturer believed the real future of small cars lay not in style, but in an entirely different engineering philosophy under the skin. Number 5. Triumph Herald. Most small saloons hid their engineering behind steel and secrecy, but the Triumph Herald proudly did the opposite. Its separate box-section chassis meant the entire front end could tilt forward on hinges, exposing the engine bay completely for effortless home servicing, a genuine novelty for everyday owners. Michelotti's Italian styling gave it crisp, upright elegance that made rivals look plain by comparison, while an exceptionally tight turning circle made parking in cramped British town centres almost embarrassingly easy. Independent rear suspension promised sophisticated handling on paper, though enthusiastic cornering could catch out the unwary with sudden changes in grip. Convertible and estate versions widened its appeal considerably, turning a humble town runabout into something genuinely versatile for young families and weekend adventurers alike. Can you imagine popping the whole bonnet forward just to check your oil? Owners loved the simplicity. Yet Triumph's clever chassis engineering was about to be overshadowed entirely by a car so tiny, so radical, that it would make every other entry on this list look conventional by comparison. Number 4. Vauxhall Viva HA. Vauxhall had watched rivals dominate the small car boom for years, and in 1963 they finally struck back with quiet, understated confidence. The Viva HA arrived as a genuinely modern unitary construction saloon, sharing engineering influence with General Motors' German operations while wearing thoroughly British styling underneath. Its overhead valve engine prioritized smoothness and easy maintenance over outright excitement, exactly what commuting families across Luton and beyond actually wanted from their daily transport. Buyers praised its light, precise steering and comfortable ride, qualities that made longer journeys far less tiring than in some fussier rivals. Within its first year, the Viva became one of Britain's fastest-selling new cars, catching competitors completely off guard with its runaway popularity. Would you have chosen understated Vauxhall reliability over a flashier badge on your driveway? Many buyers quietly did exactly that. But Britain's small car story was about to take a turn toward genuine engineering ambition, in a car built to outsmart rivals from BMC itself. Number 3. Triumph 1300. While rivals battled over engine layout, Triumph decided to out-engineer everyone at once. Introduced at the London Motor Show in October 1965, it was a compact luxury four-door saloon with a body styled by Michelotti, deliberately echoing the larger Triumph 2000 to suggest a bigger car for a smaller price. It became Leyland's first front-wheel drive design, arriving as BMC dominated the small car market with the Mini and the runaway success Austin 1100. Unusually, Triumph mounted the engine above the gearbox in a north-south layout rather than copying BMC's transverse arrangement. trading interior space for smoother running and easier home maintenance. Servicing stayed refreshingly simple, with the oil filter changeable without jacking the car, and the clutch replaceable from inside the cabin. Buyers loved its generous specification and genuine sense of occasion inside a genuinely small footprint. Would you have paid a premium for Triumph badge appeal over a mainstream family saloon? Plenty did exactly that. But an entirely different manufacturer was preparing a car so commercially dominant it would outsell nearly everything else on this list combined. Number 2. Ford Cortina Mark I. Some cars conquer Britain through cleverness. This one conquered it through sheer, ruthless common sense. Launched on the 20th of September, 1962, the Cortina would define the family car segment for the next 2 decades, arriving after a lightning-fast development process that took barely 21 months from clay model to showroom. Ford deliberately rejected front-wheel drive in favor of simple, tried-and-tested rear-wheel drive underpinnings, prioritizing low running costs and easy repairs over cutting-edge engineering. In just 4 years, over 1 million examples were sold to eager sales representatives and families alike, embracing Britain's newly opening motorway network with genuine enthusiasm. A tuned Lotus-engineered version even conquered the racetrack, proving Ford's humble family saloon could hold its own against more glamorous machinery. Do you remember a Cortina parked outside every other house on your street? For an entire generation, that memory is universal. Yet one final car on this list didn't just sell in huge numbers, it became something closer to legend. Number 1. Mini Cooper S. Some cars earn legendary status through sales figures. This one earned it through sheer, improbable defiance. Just 2 years after launch, John Cooper saw the Mini's potential, and the result was the 1961 Mini Cooper, quickly followed by the Cooper S. The legend was cemented in 1964 when Paddy Hopkirk and Henry Liddon stunned the motorsport world by winning the Monte Carlo Rally outright, a tiny British saloon humiliating vastly more powerful continental machinery. Victories followed in 1965 and 1967, cementing a giant-killing reputation that no rival on this list ever matched. Beyond the trophies, the Cooper S became genuine 1960s shorthand for cool, cheeky, unmistakably British confidence, embraced equally by racing drivers and fashionable Londoners alike. Would this scrappy little saloon have won your heart on a wet Welsh rally stage in 1964? For millions, it already had. Every car on this list dreamed of capturing Britain's imagination. Only one actually rewrote what a small car could achieve, on road and rally stage alike, forever. These 10 small saloons did more than move Britain from A to B, they gave an entire generation genuine freedom, dignity, and pride on wheels they could finally afford. Collectors today chase surviving examples not for their value, but for what they represent: ingenuity born from necessity, and charm that decades of flashier cars have never quite replicated. The Mini Cooper S remains the decade's crowning achievement, a giant killer whose legend only grows with time. But Britain's small car story didn't end there. Another extraordinary chapter was already unfolding on the nation's roads throughout the 1970s, and it's coming soon right here on Britain Rewind.